It's the grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light. Hope you all are doing well tonight, little flock, or this morning, depending on how you're looking at it. We're talking about the lack of brotherly love on earth, and that being the reason Abba is judging the earth. He has to, because he said if he doesn't, then no flesh will survive. That's pretty perilous. And the Father said that in the end times, perilous times would come. Very perilous days you'd be walking in. It's only perilous because there's a lack of brotherly love. That's what makes it perilous. Remember, Abba said, fear not he who can destroy the body only. So if you clue in on that, you'll understand that man has a natural fear of his brother. That is why people usually don't help their neighbor. It's out of some sort of fear. They're riding in their car. It's a storm outside. They see a person walking through the rain and they think, well, I would offer to give them a ride, but they may be having to go far away and they may not be able to give me any gas, and they this and maybe that, and what if this and what if that? Doubt starts to creep in, which is fear, because everything done with doubt is sin, and I'm sure everything done with fear is the same. But that's what it is that's lacking in this earth, that's causing the judgment to come upon it. People are just going to reap what they've sown. So if they've lacked brotherly love, then what will they sow? Something when you see it. And people go on denying it, and it only grows and festers. Just like an infection. You ignore it and you deny it's there, and it grows and it gets worse and worse till eventually it kills you. Same thing with the lack of brotherly love. You overlook it a few times. Okay, okay, I'm okay. I'll do it next time. Next time rolls around. Okay, I'll do it next time. And it just keeps compiling until it's too late. Until it's too late. And in my own personal experience, like I've been sharing with you guys, when I came out of the 40, of course, I had not eaten for 40 days and 40 nights. So I was extremely emaciated when I came out of the 40. 120 pounds was my weight. Actually, 121 pounds was my weight when I came out of the 40. So I was extremely emaciated and thin and gaunt. My eyes were all sunken and very clear that this man hadn't eaten anything for 40 days. Well, when I finally got out of the wilderness, out of those woods that I was in, a man was kind enough to give me a ride to a nearby gas station where I could wait there until my father pulled up to get me. Now, when I went to this gas station and got out of his car, I was hungered. You see, at this point, it was 42 days had passed. Not just 40, but 42 days. And so I was hungry, but when I got to that gas station, the first thing I did was look at all of the food and drink. I saw all the food and the drink, and I desired it because of my hunger, because of my emaciation, starvation I was under. Fasting. Well, I saw my brother standing in the parking lot, pumping some gas in his car. And I walked over to him, skinny, emaciated, wrapped in a blanket to stay warm, even though it's August, the hottest time of the year. I'm wrapped in a blanket because I'm shivering, because I'm freezing cold. And I walk over to him and I say, brother, I can barely get my voice. My voice was damn near gone. So I had to whisper because I was so weak. I said, brother, do you have $1 so I can get something to eat? And he said, no, I don't have it. Well, you had what you needed to pump your gas. And that's just the truth. You bought that gas to put in your car. But your brother that looked just like you, locks and all at the time, my locks were all long, so was his, didn't even give me $1 in my pitiful state that I was in, where it was obvious that I obviously needed something to eat. It's so obvious. It's not like people that they ask you for something to eat. I mean, ask you for some money and you feel all second guessing it because you're like, they're probably just going to do this with it, or they're probably just going to do that. Well, in this case, there wasn't no probably, because I was 120 pounds, emaciated. So it should have been obvious that the brother needed help. Well, he didn't help me. But he put his gas in his car. So I left him alone and I walked over. He was the only one there at that time. So I walked to the car wash, which was next door to the gas station. And I stumbled and bumbled my way over there. And there was a brother in there washing his car. And I said, brother, I'm hungry. You got $1 to spare? I can get something to eat. And he said, I don't have it. Now, they both looked at me with a look on their face of shock. And I've told this story before. There was a woman who was going to the same gas station. And when she saw me, she said, oh my God, God bless you. She covered her mouth, oh my God. So that means it was obvious. The man was near death, you see. And his brothers still wouldn't help him. They still wouldn't show compassion on him. And when I went in the gas station, since nobody gave me any money, I went in there and I begged the clerk for a sandwich. And he said, go ahead. So I grabbed the sandwich. And it was too much. I couldn't eat it. But I tried to. But it was just too much. The bread and everything was just too much. But I took the sandwich. And as I was in there getting some coffee to try to warm my body up, which was not a good idea as well because of the caffeine, shocked my system. But I needed that coffee to warm my body up, I thought. So while I was getting the coffee prepared, he was giving me this for free because I begged him for it pretty much. While I was doing that, he called me back up to the counter and he says, my boss says you have to wait outside. So in his words, his boss was watching the cameras and saw me standing inside waiting for my dad to come and said he needs to go outside, probably because he's a bum and he's scaring off my customers. Probably what he thought, not realizing this man has just come from seeing God face to face and supping with Christ at his table for 40 whole days. Not knowing that, not caring. But imagine if somebody had stopped to ask me that day, hey, brother, why are you in this state? If they had cared enough about me to say, what happened? Why are you in this state? What took place in your life? For me to have told that brother, I just came out of 40 days fasting in the wilderness, talking to our Father. Would you like to hear what he has to say? My first day back home from the 40 was at my sister's house, which is where I was taken to with my father. My sister received me with open arms that day, crying, scared that something had happened to me, didn't know where I was for all those days. But for the first time, my sister came in the room where I was laying, where I couldn't move at the time. I was weak and beat up. She came in the room and she said, tell me, tell me. And I told my sister about the things that Abba had revealed to me. And she received them. You see? So if those brothers had asked me, do you think I would have told them and given them the jewels that Abba had given me? Of course I would have. So you see, I've been that man, struggling for a breath at the gas station, begging my brothers for $1. That's what I said. Just $1. I've been that man, and I've been rejected in that state. So when I see my people doing the same thing or being in that state, I have great compassion upon them. Because you may misinterpret their circumstance for why they're there begging you. You may completely misunderstand it, not knowing why your brother is in that state. But of course, in this world, people are going along thinking about themselves and their own needs, and they leave their brother desolate. They leave them desolate because the world doesn't know about the famine. They don't really understand it. They don't really understand it. They don't know that it's going on now. It's already begun. The laborers are few. You see? True people that are actually laboring, that are doing the work, just a few. Because everybody else is too busy working. Just like James and John, Peter and Matthew, just as they were. Going along in their life thinking they're doing the right thing. But they were called out of that 3D labor and brought into spiritual labor. And so it is with me. And when I returned, I thought, well, my brothers can see me. It's obvious that I need them. They'll help me. But they were refusing. So my thing is, if I was in that state needing help and they didn't help me, then what happens if I'm healthy and strong and standing upright, not bent over like I was? They definitely don't want to help you then. And that's the conviction of the world that Christ is talking about. I testify that the works thereof, the deeds of this world, are evil. So why is it any confusion when you see a servant laboring in the garden speaking about the evil of this world? Why is it confusing and strange? Because there's a drought of it, and it's hardly anybody that's able to see it, because it's only a few that's actually doing it. That's why all those warnings were given about being deceived. And when you see it on the front lines of the battlefield, like I have, then you're no longer deceived. You're no longer swayed with lip service. You're no longer impressed by fanciful words that people say to you, because you realize it's about doing. It's about helping and sharing. And if you can put gas in your car, then you certainly can give your emaciated brother $1. But that gas in that car was more important than this dirty, nasty bum standing here. Getting to my next location is more important than him getting to his next breath. And that's why the works thereof are evil, y'all. Because where is people putting their value? If that's the case, I'm telling you from my own experience. That's what I have experienced. The same ones I came back to give this word to rejected me, didn't help me, just looked at me and turned the other way and kept walking. And it is always that way. Because the prophet is not without honor except in his own hometown, his own people, and his own kin. Do you see? I told you the brother looked just like me, but he wouldn't help me. And what more excuse did I need to show him that I needed the help, genuinely? The man saw me on the camera and told me to get out of his store. What kind of compassion is that for a man who's just gone through what I've gone through? You see? And this was lacking, guys. It's not anything hard or difficult. It's not anything that should be confusing as to what Christ means when he says, I convict the world of their sin. So they hate me. They hate me because I testify of it, that it's evil, man. The things that they're doing, it aren't right. They're hateful while saying loving things. That's a double wickedness. If you're hateful, at least it's better if you just admit that you are and you treat people according to your word. But these people say they love you and they treat you worse than people that say they hate you. This is double wicked world. DWW. That's where y'all living at. And so you see it and you bear with it, holding on to your faith, your hope, and your love. And at the end of this, even when your faith has wore out and when your hope is dwindling by a thread, love will carry you through. And I'm telling you this from personal experience. I didn't hold anything against that brother because I understood his ignorance. And I still do to this day. I understand the vicissitudes of life that drag you down in it and make you feel like you have to do certain things for yourself or else you won't survive. I know. It's just like that woman that baked that food for Elijah. Like I've told you guys, if this weren't true, then why would God put it there? If it weren't necessary for you to understand how to take care of the ones God sends to you. It's over and over and over and over again in there. Hey man, go to the places I send you. And those who receive you, bless that house. But those who don't, dust your feet off. So then he's going to send you to certain places to test other people's brotherly love. He sends his servants there to preach brotherly love, to show it by their deeds when something needs to be done. They don't go back and forth, warring back and forth about who should do it because they understand that they're a servant in that house. And so they do the nasty job. Me and one of my sisters, when we were in Georgia, moved into a woman's house. And this woman's house was filthy. It's just the truth. It was filthy. It had been very neglected. And in the bathroom, it was so nasty in that bathroom. There were dead gnats all inside the light fixture, all on the wall in the shower, dead gnats everywhere, because it was just a filthy place. And I watched the sister that I was with roll up her sleeves and deep clean that entire bathroom till it smelled like spick and span when you went in there. There were no gnats anywhere, neither. She scrubbed all of that out, the light fixtures, everything. She did that nasty, dirty work. Other people's piss all over the floor and all over this toilet seat and everything. She cleaned it up. Just met these people, and she did the uncomfortable job and was still kicked out of that woman's house. So you see what I mean? What did you need more? Somebody to give you $200 this month on your rent, or somebody to clean that nasty, stinking ass, dirty ass bathroom you've been neglecting? That was worth more than $200. How come you couldn't see that? Because all you see is paper with white boys on it. That's all y'all care about. Even if you ain't a white boy, you love that shit more than looking at your own face in the mirror. You rather look at a white boy face on a piece of paper than to see your own face and thank God that you're alive today. And that's what's sad. Didn't see your brother's face looking like a skeleton that day at the gas station, did you? And that's what's evil about this world, y'all. Like I've been saying. And for those who are cut to the heart by the words that you hear at the School of Marvelous Light sometimes, that's just proof that the word of Abba's talking to you. Because it is his word that cuts through the bone and the marrow, cutting through and separating all that stuff to get down to the intents of your heart. And he pulls that out. And that's the conviction you feel. You see? That's the conviction you feel. It's your own conscience. Think about those men that were going to stone that woman. And then think about Yahusha said words to them. And it cut their conscience. And that's why they left. Conscience is the intents of your heart. See? It cut them to the conscience. That's the sword of God. So if you feel that, you run because you don't recognize God's word do that. Well, read his word and see if the Savior don't got a double-edged sword coming out his mouth that cuts a man in twain. So don't be surprised by the judgment and why it's coming and why many people are going to die and many people are going to suffer. It's obvious why. They don't love each other. In order to live, you got to love each other. So if you don't love each other, what happens? Shalom, Mr. Allah.